Hey everyone, it's Pat from Seattle Coffee Gear, and today I have the new Jura ENA 4. So this is a machine that kind of replaces the A1, which if you're not familiar, the Jura A1 was, and is, you can still find them some places, a super automatic espresso machine that is a very compact and just does the espresso part. So it doesn't have dedicated milk frothing system. It doesn't have a separate hot water spout. It was basically just if you want espresso, super automatic espresso, that's your machine. And part of the reason that it worked so well is that Jura has a really cool patented, they call it the pulse extraction process, that modulates the brew pressure as it brews to just do a really good job with the extraction. And generally, Jura super automatic espresso is some of my favorite, and I think that's a pretty commonly held opinion. And so they just make really good espresso. So the ENA 4 is sort of a replacement for that A1, and it fits sort of the form factor and style of their newer machines. You have this kind of round water tank, which is not my favorite, but it actually works really well from a practical standpoint, so that's nice. The water tank has the Jura's filtration system in it, so you just pop the filter in, and it's really easy to work with and remove compared to some other machines, so I like that about it. And otherwise, it has a lot of pretty standard but well-represented features that you would expect for a super automatic in this price range. This one, like the A1, does not have a milk frothing system, and it does not have a hot water spout. So it's a little bit limited in what it can do. You're gonna see here that we've got just a couple of buttons for espresso and for coffee. Coffee being a long shot or a lungo like you see in other super automatic espresso machines. You've got a button to change the dosage strength, and then you have just a button to access the settings menu over here. All of the interface stuff is done using this screen. It's not a touch screen, it's not like a super fancy screen, it just has icons on it, but I think that it works pretty well to get the job done, and it's pretty simple. You can also double press these buttons to get a double brew, so it'll grind and brew twice. And that's kind of my favorite thing about this machine and its simplicity, is that it just makes good coffee, much like the A1. I've been really happy with the coffee that you get out of it, and it's got really good flavor. You've got your hopper up here. The hopper is a little on the small side. You'll find that you're gonna be replacing the beans more frequently than you would in some other super automatics. Hasn't been a huge issue for me though. I think it's fine. It's not like you have to do it every shot or anything, just every couple of days instead of every 5 or 6 days that you're gonna need to replace it depending on your use. You've got a bypass doser. It's kind of hard to see up here. You control it with this little lever on the side. So you can open that and put in bypass coffee if you want to use decaf or something like that. There's also a slot on the back here that you can't see. It's nothing exciting, but it is a place where you can plug in Jura's Smart Connect. So you can use the app, which has a range of other features that it can kind of bring to this machine, but it's still going to ultimately make good coffee. So when you turn it on, it's pretty quick to heat up, but I will note that it does have an auto shut off time. So I found in my testing of it that if I made a coffee in the morning and then wanted another one an hour or two later, I would have to turn it back on and have it fire up again and heat up. Whereas something like the Miele, man, it kind of stays warm while it's in a sort of lower power state. So if you're in a really big hurry, that could be a frustration. It didn't end up really bothering me much. The drip tray, I think, is pretty good. It's a little busy. So you've got some grounds in there. That's just from me moving it around. It has this kind of flap right here, and then it's got stuff underneath the tray, but it's pretty easy to clean compared to other drip trays, and the waste bin just kind of pops in right there, and you slide it back in. It does have an icon on the screen to tell you when to empty the drip tray, and I found that it's pretty accurate. I didn't find that it was necessarily overflowing or anything, as long as I actually did it when it recommended, and it's gonna just tell you that based on the number of drinks between times that you've removed it. It's not so much it's not sensing anything in the drip tray. So that is kind of the overview of this machine, and like I said, I'm pretty happy with the drinks that it makes. Let's go ahead and make a shot so you can see it in action, and we'll go from there. All right, so let's go ahead and make a drink. I'm gonna hit the espresso button here. We're just gonna do a single shot. And it's gonna do a little bit of a warm up and prep. I actually think the grinder is a pretty good volume. It's not too loud. And we get our shot. You can kind of hear the pulsing of the extraction process that it does too. That kind of tells you that it's modulating the pressure of the water. And there we go. So, a pretty good looking shot. I actually changed the beans that were in this from what I was using at home, so that it might not be perfectly dialed in. Like everything else, you know, you have a grinder you can dial in, but I think this looks pretty good for what we got. It's a little on the light side, but that's okay. Good crema. And it tastes really good. This actually tastes pretty much perfectly dialed in to me. There's no bitterness, no sourness. It's just a good shot of espresso. Honestly, Jura's super automatics are impressive because I feel like I would have to do a fair amount of work to dial in a under $1,000 semi-automatic machine to generate a kind of shot like this, and I just put the beans in and push the button and the machine does it. So from that perspective, I think this is a really great machine. I think it has some, you know, the water tank being a little sticky sometimes can be a little bit of a pain. The drip tray is a little bit small. It doesn't have a ton of extra features, so I don't want to imply that it's some kind of like incredibly perfect machine, but I think if what you're in for is a super automatic espresso machine that just makes good espresso and long shots, this is one of the best options I think available right now. So I'm a big fan of it, and I think you will be too if you're interested in that. So thank you so much for checking out this video. We'll have more videos for the Jura ENA 4 coming soon as well, so stay tuned to the channel and get subscribed. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and feel free to drop any questions or comments below. Thanks.